C9 and fam, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another vlog. It's your girl Nels, and if you're new here, welcome. Well, not another vlog because this is more like a sit down chit chat kind of video, and I know you'll see the title. Right? So we are going to get into the process of me buying property, and not just the process, like where it started, how I went through the process, what it took, just all the things, like my version of it, my version of what I went through to get to the point of buying property and owning property and whatever. That's what we're going to go through. So it's going to be like a little story time, and I have to give you all the story time for you to understand why this means so much to me. It's not just a purchase, it's not just a, oh, I have this, I own this. It's not just that for me. It's so much more. It is so much more. So if you guys want to know where it started, why I decided to make this decision, and how I got here, then stick around. So quick disclaimer: one, the fan is going to be on throughout this entire video. It's on the lowest speed. It is too hot for me to record this video without a fan, as one. Two, I am going to go back from the beginning in order for you all to understand everything about the story. I need to go all the way back to the beginning in 2022. Y'all, 2022. I have to go all the way back to there so y'all could understand how we get here. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, y'all, so let's go back to COVID. This is in 2022. Shiara is a year and a half old, so she's fairly new to being a baby. Brandon and Sakura is at home doing school at home because everything was locked down. Places were closed because we are locked down. It's COVID, right? If you all lived through that, which we all did, you all know how horrible it was. I couldn't put Shiara in a daycare to go work or anything like that, and her dad was studying to buy a car, studying to run down females, and studying to do everything else except take care of his family. So he was realizing that because I'm not working, his money is not going as far as he would want it to go in terms of, living his life. So he was like, you know what, I can't do this, and you need to come over, please. He kicked me out in the middle of COVID. This man kicked me out. No daycare to put my child. I have nowhere to go because I'm living with this man. I don't have a house, I don't have nothing. I'm living with this man. I don't have a job, so I can't take care of myself. I have no job, no one to watch my child for me to go get a job because we're in the middle of COVID and we locked down. And he was like, you know what, get out my house with 3 children. I was like, you know what, I need to figure this out. So I don't know why, but the first thing I did was call my grandmother. My grandmother lives in the US. She's a United States citizen. I called her and I was like, hey grandma, I have nowhere to go. This man kicked me out of his house and I don't know what to do. Can you help me for a couple months to pay rent until I can find a job so that I can take care of myself? She in turn said, I ain't doing that. I'm not helping you to pay rent because rent is dead money. I prefer to spend my money buying you a house. And I was like, oh my god, like I need somewhere to live now. Like buying a house gonna take a while. I need somewhere to live now. This man kicked me out of his house. I need someone to sleep tonight. I need some, like, I was so all over the place. My emotions was everywhere, but I did take her advice and I was like, you know what, cool. So I called my friend and I asked, hey, can I stay with you for a little while until I can find a job for me to move out of your place? Give me a little time. And my friend was like, okay, cool, no problem, you can live with me. So I stayed with my friend for a couple months. During those couple months that I was with my friend, I was actively looking for jobs. I even ended up getting a job like within 2 weeks of living with my friend, because my mom actually helped me to get a job where she was working. I mean, she still works there, but she helped me to get a job there. And then my friend offered to babysit my child, and I was like, you a G, right? So my friend offered to babysit my child while I go to work. And then I started the process with my brother, of course, because you all need to understand that my brother and I are the only children of my dad, which my grandmother is my dad's mom, so this is on my dad's side. So we're the only children of my dad, and my dad died since we were little. So she has always felt a sense of obligation to us to always try to help us and stuff like that. So the thing was, if I'm buying you a house, I'm gonna buy you a house with your brother. So my brother and I started the process of looking for houses and stuff like that. So we started looking at multi-family homes where, you know, it's like one big house but they're separate living spaces. So maybe I'll have the upstairs, you'll have the downstairs, or maybe I'll have the back, you'll have the front, something like that. But it was separate living spaces where they both have kitchens, bedrooms, living rooms, toilets, all these different things. And y'all, when I tell you the prices these people was asking for these houses, it was horrendous, because they were not classing it as multi-family properties, they were classing it as income properties. So they are seeing it as, okay, someone buys this house, they can live in part of the house and then rent out the other part of the house, because it's two separate living spaces. So because they were classing it as that, y'all, in the millions, and we was like, we can't afford this. Not to mention the homes did not even work for us. Like the ones that we looked at and saw did not work for us. Did not. Most of them was only coming with like 2 bedrooms. Plus on top of that, the spaces were super small. Like there was this one house that my brother, he went to look at the house. Like I saw it online or whatever, I gave him the information. He went to look at the house and the house was so small. Like the bedroom was literally smaller than this bedroom I'm in now. Like the only thing you could have fit in the bedroom was like a bed and nothing else. Not a chest of drawer, not a wardrobe, not nothing. It had no storage. The house needed a lot of work. It was just terrible. So like most of the houses we looked at, one, they were out of our budget. 2, they just did not work for us in terms of size, in terms of layout, in terms of nothing. So we decided, you know what, we're gonna look at fixer-uppers. So when we decided to look at fixer-uppers, we were like, okay, it needs to have the space that we need, but if it has like enough space that we can add on to, or whatever the case might be, that would be great. So then there was this one house that we looked at. It wasn't necessarily a fixer-upper, but it was basically like the house split down the middle. So one side it was 3 bedrooms, I think 2 baths, kitchen, drawing room. The other side was the same thing. But then when we went to go through the process of, you know, speaking to whoever's in charge of selling it and whatever, the house had no TC. Granted, we were not buying the house on a loan, but it had no TC. There was a lot of complications with it, and it was in a flooded area. Thank God at that point in time we were looking at houses. It was like during rainy season, so when my brother went to visit it, the yard was flooded. The yard was flooded. Other fixer-uppers that we looked at, they were still in the millions, and they had like hella work to do. Like there was this one house we looked at, I think it was like almost $3 million, almost $3 million, and the entire structure would have needed to break down. The entire structure, and they were charging $3 million simply because it was like on the main road, close to stuff, and it was close to like Port of Spain. So they were charging like almost $3 million for, I guess, the land, because the house, it was abandoned for years. The family was living in America. They hadn't come to Trinidad in God knows how long to even check on this house, see about it, anything like that. The structure just needed to be teared down, and we would have had to pay to tear it down. We'd have had to pay to clear it. We'd have had to pay to do so much before we could even start seeing about building a house, that it would have cost us way too much to spend almost $3 million and then still do all of that work. Not to mention, we did not have $3 million. So, as I said, we decided we are going to look at land instead of houses or fixer-uppers or anything like that, because it just wasn't making sense for us. The cost was too much. It was just too much, right? So we decided, you know what, we are going to look at land. So we started looking at land, and y'all, when I tell you, have land everywhere, all over the place, different prices, and a lot of the times the prices depend on the neighborhood, the prices depend on the area, and we already knew that going in. But again, we were novices to this whole situation, right? So we started looking at land, and there was a lot of them that looked like it was doing what it's supposed to do. It was within our budget and whatever. And then we found even more land that, even though as much as it was in our budget, we were able to buy separate plots of land. So mine would be separate from him, so we didn't necessarily have to share the same property, right? So we started looking at that, and we ran into some hurdles with that. We ran into some hurdles because Trinidadians fake and like to scam. So let me tell you about that. So the first set of land we looked at, I did not go to see it, right? My brother went to see it because I was busy with work. The first set of land that we looked at, my brother went to see because I had a broken ankle. I couldn't walk, I couldn't go anywhere, so I was like, I would look up all the places, I would look up the places, I would get the real estate agent's number, I would get all the information needed, and then I would send it over to my brother. He would take time from work and he would go, because he has a car, he would go and he would check all these different places. So we narrowed it down to this particular place, right? So he started the process of, sending the documentation. He found a lawyer, he sent the documentation to the lawyer, and they did the search and whatever for us, so that we make sure the land is legit, the person is legit, they have the right to sell it, whatever. So this first place, when we started the process, we found out that the guy who is selling the land, in my opinion, trying to scam people, because he had the authority prior to sell the land from the husband. So husband and wife owns the land, right? The husband gives him the authority to sell the land. I can't remember what it's called. What is it called? Power of attorney. So he had the power of attorney to sell the land at the point in time when the husband was alive. He does not own the land. The power of attorney only works while the husband is alive. The husband passes away, so the land moves on to the wife. So she owns the land. She did not give him power of attorney, but he is still trying to sell the land and get money. So now the guy with the power of attorney and the wife of the dead husband is in court for the land, for the court to determine who has the right for the land and to be able to sell the land. So when the lawyers found that out, they was like, hey, yo, this is not making no sense, do not move forward with this, forget that, look at somewhere else. Thankfully, we didn't spend any money there or anything like that. The lawyers just did their search and stuff, and the agreement we had with the lawyers is that once everything is done, we get our land, this, that, the third, we'll pay basically the whole bill, right? So we didn't necessarily spend money there, so that was a plus. However, the second property that we thought we were going to buy, again, a bunch of crooked, scammy people that don't make no sense. So the second set of property that we were going to buy, my brother goes through the whole process again with the lawyers, they do the search, this, that, the third. One, it came up, yes, the guy owned the land or whatever, but I guess his name was in a bunch of shady shit concerning land or whatever, and the lawyers didn't feel comfortable, having their license attached to this thing with a shady man, so we didn't do that. Then the third property that we were going to buy, we did get to the point of signing an agreement, right? There is an agreement that you have to sign stating that you are going to buy this land, and it's a whole thing. So you sign the agreement and you pay a down payment, right? So my brother did pay a down payment on this property. When you pay a down payment and you sign this document, it's in escrow for, I think, 90 days. Either 30 days or 90 days. I can't really remember. But it's in escrow for a certain amount of time, right? And my brother signs the documents, pays the down payment for this thing. And then when it's time to actually sign official documents so that we can have the deed, this, and the third, the man comes back with completely new documents stating that the price has changed. Because we started the process, let's say, coming down to the end of 2022, going into 2023, right? Obviously, things with the government and approvals and this and that take some time. So by the time we were done with all the approvals and whatever, it's 2023. This man brings new documents and said the price changed. Last year price is not this year price, and completely, change his price. So what we signed a document for is not what he wanted us to sign the new document for. It would have been more money, and we already signed an agreement that it's going to be this amount. We already paid a down payment, whatever, and he just basically trying to get more money out of us. So my brother and the lawyer was like, nope, we're not doing this, whatever. And I think, I'm not too sure if my brother is still going through the whole battle of trying to get our down payment back, because he was the one that broke contract, not us. So we are still trying to get our money back, if I'm not mistaken, from that man for the down payment that we paid. So we technically lost money, technically. So that brings us to the fourth property that we would have moved forward with trying to buy, which we did end up buying. Okay. Thank you. We did end up buying the fourth property because everything was in order. It was just a little complicated because the government does take long to do everything, and I think this video is getting kind of long, so I will make a part 2 to this video and explain that process. I do have clips of me, because I did go, in this instance, I did go and search places with my best friend, so we can view places and like whatever to buy the land. So I think I'll make a part 2, which will be posted tomorrow, of my best friend and I going and looking at properties and the process and all of that. But this was just a story time as to where we started up till the fact that we bought property. But I will give you a more in-depth video tomorrow as to what I had to do, where I had to go and whatever. I can't give you costs because costs differ depending on the type of property you're buying and whatever. So, but I will still tell you what I had to do and the process and how long it took and whatever in order for me to actually own property. But I do own property in my name. Me, moi, Nels. I own property, y'all. But anyway, stay tuned for part 2. It will be out tomorrow. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you are interested, please come back for part 2 tomorrow. I know I left y'all on a cliffhanger, and I'm really sorry. The point is, you know the outcome. I bought property, okay? But I'll show you all everything else tomorrow, the little clips that I have of me going and whatever. But thanks guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to come back tomorrow for another vlog. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. Make sure to comment down below anything, any questions you all have about the property buying process down below, and I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. Granted, I am not anybody that can give you legal advice. Let's make that very clear. I cannot give you legal advice. I cannot give you financial advice. I can only tell you what happened from my experience. I cannot give you any of those advice. I'm not qualified to give you legal, financial, or real estate advice. Okay? Please understand that. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.